Hey guys, thank you for joining episode 2 of Courtside Conversations. I have my dearest friend here with me, Irie.
Family, what's up?
Thank you so much for joining me. Honestly, thank you so much. And for the people that are on here that don't know who Irie is, which I'd be shocked if that's the case, Irie
Nobody knows who I am. Come on now.
Irie is an amazing DJ. He used to DJ for the Miami Heat. He's done the Super Bowl. He's done musical awards. He's done it all. And not only that, he's done non-profit organizations. He has his own foundation. He's a businessman. I mean, what do you not do? I literally have no idea.
We do quite a bit and ready to share a whole lot of background knowledge. So we're gonna have some fun.
We definitely are. Okay, let's get into it. So we're going to start with a light question. What has been your favorite place to DJ in?
Um, so many amazing places, so many, but there's one that really is special to me. It's called Hannah Sun Club, and it is based in Acapulco, Mexico.
Okay.
Livy, this thing it's unbelievable. It's
I
on top
already
of
want
a
to go. I
mountain.
already
It's
want to go.
crazy. Like if you haven't been there, please look it up. Make it a point to go there. It's amazing.
Okay. Wow. Why is it your number one destination? Like, what is so amazing about it?
I think well, number one, well, the venue's incredible, but the people. It's not like I go there during some big holiday when a lot of Americans there, a lot of tourists. It's a
Yeah.
very local crowd, and that's one of the only places where I'll be booked to play about 2 hours, and I end up playing for 6, 7, 8, 9 hours.
Oh my
Like
God. You're
it,
just
it, it,
it.
it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. So, oh, I think there might be a little echo. Are we good now?
Yeah, you're
We're not
good.
echoing, right?
No, I don't think so.
I think it's better. I think it's better. Yeah, I'll just play like all night. It's unbelievable. The energy is just it's unreal. The people are amazing. It's my kind of party.
See, that's the thing, isn't it? You can be in the most, like, you don't even have to be in amazing places, but if you're with the right people, that's
Yeah,
that's what is the thing that gets you, I think.
listen. You can have a great time anywhere if you're with the right people.
100%.
So one time for all those real crews out there that hold it down.
Okay. What do you think has been the most important thing for you to grow your personal brand?
I think, and it may sound a bit like a broken record, but it's so true. It's over delivering. It
Mhm.
is over delivering. It's exceeding expectations. One thing with me that I tried and strive to do was, when I work with a client, you know, people are busy, especially event planners. They have so many things to worry about, right? They have food, they have lights, they have security, they have all these different things. I wanted to be the guy that when they called DJ Irie for to book him for his services,
Yeah.
after that call, don't worry about it. Because I'm gonna be on time. I'm gonna be dressed properly, right? I'm gonna play the right music. I'm gonna do all the things
Yeah.
the way they're supposed to be done, so they don't have to worry about any of the other stuff. You know, that's the reputation that I wanted to have,
Yeah.
and I think it's probably one of the most important things. When it came to building my brand and building my business.
You know what? And that's so interesting that you say that. Things like this, I feel like, is just the simplest of things can make such
Yeah,
a difference. Like, genuinely, I feel like I've had situations where people just haven't been on time, they haven't been doing the correct things, and it's just these standard things that
yeah,
really can. It just ties into everything.
right. We might be here talking about it like, wow, these things sound like so commonplace, like
Yes.
it's so basic, but most people don't do them. And it's mind-boggling, a lot of people don't do these things, and if they did adopt them and did do them, they would find themselves miles ahead. And it's so basic, but these basic things are what's really important, and doing these things and doing them consistently can really set you apart.
100%, 100%. And what do you think? Did you always want to go into the entertainment industry, or did you have a different pathway when you were younger? Like,
Oh,
what?
yeah. You know what? That's a good question, because never like growing up, never in a million years did I think that I could be doing what I do, or I have the kind of career that I had.
Yeah.
And I was very timid, believe it or not. I was very shy. When it came to my music, it was just for me. I was a kid DJing in my bedroom, right? And that was all the thrill that I needed,
Yeah.
right?
Of course.
And it wasn't until I met a young lady that actually came to my place and saw all the records in my bedroom, and she was so impressed by all the records, she assumed that I was a DJ, and of course I couldn't let her down, so I kind of went along with it, right?
Yeah.
And she asked me to if she could tell her dad to hire me for an event, and that's kind of how it happened for me. Sometimes people say, what they went through to find their career. My career found me and kind of landed on my head.
Wow.
And and after that experience, I couldn't deny it because I realized, I did have this innate talent, which was being able to read a room,
Yeah.
right? And being able to put this immense vocabulary of music together that was something, succinct, and it was like, wow, this feels right.
Yeah.
This feels natural. And I just kept down that path, and more doors kept opening, and a kind of a snowball effect. And here we are, today, kind of talking about everything. But that's what happened with me. It wasn't a case of, getting up one day saying, "Hey, I want to be a DJ and I want to travel the world and I'm going to do all these things." No, that is the furthest thing from the truth. But one thing I did do is once I did go down that path, is I tried to be as consistent as possible, right? I tried to deliver at a high level as much as possible. And I think, being able to execute on those things, opportunities kept presenting themselves.
100%. I feel like it's a trickle effect. Once you start in a certain area, and if you genuinely have a passion for it and genuinely keep working hard at it, things do keep lining up, keep lining up. Like I've definitely found that in the last year or so. If you keep just
Oh yeah,
putting yourself out there for things, then other things. It's a trickle effect. It just keeps coming.
absolutely. Especially if you're doing good work, if you're
Yeah.
being consistent, opportunities will present themselves. They say, um, you know, people talk about getting lucky, but it's not really lucky. It's when opportunity and preparedness meet,
Yeah.
because opportunities will always come by. You're either ready for the challenge or you're not. If you're ready for it, that's going to be success,
Yeah.
right?
100%.
So you got to stay ready, not stay lucky, but stay ready.
You're right. Maybe a little bit lucky. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. Little luck never hurts either.
Little
That's
luck
true.
here and there
That's
never
true.
hurts.
That's true. That's true. That's true. That's
What
true.
is a moment that you have got knocked down in your career, and how did you come back from this?
Wow, that's a great question, and there's probably more of those moments than I would even like to remember. People see the shine, but they don't see the grind, right? They see the name up in lights and the partying and all that kind of stuff, but there's a lot that goes into it that people don't see, right?
Yeah,
There's a lot of grungy grind that happens. But one thing in particular I could probably share with you that was monumental in my career was there was a point that things were great. I was you know probably performing 5, 6 nights a week in
yeah,
Miami, and it was with pretty much the same operator, the same club owner. And for a time, it was great until I realized, wait a minute, my destiny and my fate literally lies in the hands of one person, right? Of one company, and it got to a point where that kind of kept me up at night, you know. And I realized, I have to believe in myself, right? I have to kind of step out on my own and
yeah,
diversify, for me to, have a viable career down the line. You cannot have everything just in one, especially my career. It's not really smart to have everything under just the control of one company, And I made the decision to step away from that, not having anything else lined up, and I went from making what was guaranteed money every month to cover everything I needed to cover to where my next job is going to be,
and
right?
why did you step away from that in that point of your life?
Well, I stepped away because this is a very trendy business,
Yeah,
right? And I felt like just how, DJ Irie came along, right? And it was like the new thing, and everything was popping and everybody wanted, Irie at their party or whatever. I had the foresight to know that something else is going to come along, right? Just because these Irish here now doesn't mean this is what's going to be, forever, And these club owners, that's what they're in the business of, is being, you know, on top of what's trendy and what's popping. And I understood that,
Yeah.
right? And to be able to, and it's a different story when, you have clientele I have clients in New York, and clients in LA, and clients in Vegas, right? And clients in Atlanta, and clients overseas. That's a different story,
Mhm.
right? Because, you know, if the trend changes in New York, you still have Atlantic City, and you
Yeah.
still have LA, you know what I mean? And I was like, well, if that were to happen in Miami, then I have nowhere to turn. And so I had the foresight to understand that, and I knew it was better to diversify kind of there at the top of what I was doing in Miami,
Yeah.
you know, rather than down the line. So that's why I made that decision, and it
Okay.
was the best decision I ever made, because after I did that, um, people weren't calling me from Vegas. They weren't calling me from other places because they were like, "Oh, he's just with that group."
Yeah.
Right? We don't want to ruffle those feathers. But once I did step away, the phone started ringing, and they were like, "Hey, we've been wanting to work with you for so long, but we didn't want to step on any toes." Right?
Exactly.
And yeah, so it ended up being the right move, and it ended up being a blessing, and that's what really kind of gave my career wings, you could say, right? And
Yeah.
I started taking off and performing all around the country, and then later on around the world.
You know what? You have to back your choices though. Like I've I've found that at times where you're like, oh gosh, is this the right decision? And you really start
Yeah.
to doubt yourself, and then you just have to go for it. It's
Yeah, you
it
have to.
it turns out so much better than it was originally in the beginning.
Absolutely, and it's human nature to doubt yourself, because fear the unknown, right? Is it going to work out? Am I going to fall flat on my face? you know,
Exactly.
whatever the turnout is, you have to believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself first, no one else is going to,
Yeah.
right? And if you bet on anything, you might as well bet on yourself, because you have control of that. You
Yeah.
have control of the outcome. So, if you are really committed to not losing, then you're going to do whatever you have to do to get it done,
Exactly.
right?
What's the worst that
And
can happen? People
what's worse that can happen? You know
yeah,
what? You
people say no.
fail. Yeah, if you fail,
Yeah.
at least you learn from it,
Yeah.
and you can figure out your next move,
Yeah.
right? But you got
Exactly.
to bet on yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. Like if I hadn't entered that tournament when I was younger, I probably wouldn't have met you and we wouldn't be here
Isn't
today.
that crazy, right? And that was what? How many years ago was that? What, 15? How many years ago was that?
I was 13, so I'm 22 now. So do the math.
Unreal. Unreal. It was a long ass time ago.
Like I'm no longer trying to attempt to do that.
But look at that. Those are life decisions
Life decisions.
that next thing you know, you put yourself in a position to make relationships that you never know what they will mean to you in your career down the line, right? But you had the faith in yourself, you believed in yourself to even enter that tournament, and look how that turned out,
Yeah,
right? It's a
exactly.
beautiful thing.
Okay, so tell me the three most influential people in your life and how they have impacted you.
Oh, wow. That's another really good one. That's really good. Let me just say, obviously, I want to say my parents collectively, both of them, because um, for any youngster growing up in a really solid family unit, of course you're going to get influenced by your parents, right? And I was just lucky enough to have two just really incredible people that taught me about sacrifice, right? Taught me about unconditional love, right? Taught me about believing in myself, right? All these things that are just the hallmark of a strong individual. So I have to give my parents the utmost love and respect for helping me be the person that I am today.
No, it's
And
beautiful.
then just kind of along the way, there are people that influenced me specifically in my DJ career. Um, I'd say two people would be, DJ AM,
Okay.
and Mark Ronson, right? Because what they taught me was really music isn't just expression, but it's free expression, right? There was a time early in my career where I kind of felt like, okay, well, I have to be in this lane,
Yeah.
right? And if I deviate from this lane, people are going to think that I'm not true to this, right? And it was like messing with my head. And then, meeting these guys and seeing how they were performing, how they would just literally, there was no handcuffs, right? There was no shackles. It was just about music,
Hmm.
right? And about just just being completely open and free with it, and genre bending and going from here to there. Um, I thought it was just amazing, and it really opened me up to being a lot more free in my expression in terms of how I approach performing. So I got to give them a lot of props. And probably another one would be, I mean, there's so many, but probably another one would be my buddy Damon John.
Okay.
Damon, people might know him from the Shark Tank.
Yes,
Um,
I do. I was
I
going to
actually
say
knew
that. You know what? I have been absolutely obsessed with Shark Tank recently. I've been watching every
it's a
single episode.
great show.
It
It's a
is
great.
whoever
It's a
came up with that concept is
yeah. Actually, that's my buddy Mark Burnett. Man, he's
wow.
he's unbelievable. The cool thing about first, I actually I met Damon probably 12 or 15 years before Shark Tank was even a thing,
Wow.
right?
What was
And
that?
at the time,
That's
well,
crazy.
here's the thing. He was a matter of fact. This is when I just started DJing, right? As a
Okay.
matter of fact, Damon was the first person ever to book me to perform outside of Miami. So he's the first one to pay for me to get on a plane and do an event for him, and it was actually in Vegas. So he was
Okay.
the first person to bring me to Vegas, first person to bring me to Cancun, right? And it was very just monumental for me because at the time he had like this huge clothing brand called Fubu, right? And it was big at the time. And I'm like, wow, man, this guy is like a fashion mogul and he's paying attention to what I'm doing, right? And not only was he paying attention to what I was doing, he took the time to, sit down with me and he's like, hey, you know what? You're doing great. Um, let me show you some things, right? Um, let me show you some things. And he would literally, take the time to just kind of show me the ins and outs of business, ins and
Hmm.
outs of building a brand. I mean, he took a lot of time. He invested a lot of time in me, and it's something that I'll never ever forget.
Yeah.
And it's something that he didn't have to do. So I have a lot of appreciation for that.
You know what? I think that goes back to like who you surround yourself with is so important. I've had moments in my life where I don't think I've surrounded myself with the right people and it's affected me in a very negative way. And as
Yeah,
soon as I realized that and separated myself from them and got myself out of that situation, I saw such a difference in myself. But even just the simplest things of surrounding yourself with the right people can can change your life. Can change your life. And the fact that
yeah,
I've also had, even yourself, like there's so many people in my life that have been willing to help me and you can't do it by yourself. It's literally I found that like you everyone needs help. Everyone needs a little bit of help, a little bit of direction, some advice. Like we,
absolutely.
there's impossible to know it all yourself, you know?
It's possible. And here's the thing about it, right? A lot of people, they know they need help, but they don't want to bother anybody,
Yeah.
right? They don't want to, intrude. They don't want to be a burden, so you don't ask.
Yeah.
Please hear me when I say this. People intrinsically want to help. People want to help. If you need help, ask. Number one, the worst thing that could happen is they say no, right? But the fact of the matter is this: sometimes when you ask somebody for help, you're actually helping them
Yeah.
because they feel better about themselves that, wow, you know what? I have something in my wheelhouse. I have some skills or I have some tools that I can lend to somebody and better their situation. That's great. It makes them feel good, you know? So, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been in, situations where I don't want to bother anybody. I don't want to be a burden, but man, I need help,
Yeah,
whether it be
exactly.
guidance, whether it be resources, whatever it is. And I pick up the phone, and it's like a whole load gets lifted off my shoulders because the first thing out of the mouth is, "Yo, of course, I got
Yeah.
you, no
You
problem."
never thought they would say yes. Like,
Yeah, and in
yeah,
my mind, I was going nuts just figuring out how am I gonna ask, like how am I gonna
it's
bring
so
this
hard.
up? Yeah, and it's like,
You're like shaking before you get on the phone. You're like, how am I going to
yeah.
ask this?
And
But
the
I
first thing
really
out of the mouth was, "Sure, no problem." I'm like, "What?" Like, why was I stressing over this?
yeah. And I feel like it's human nature for it, internally we want to feel good. When you're helping someone in that way, you feel satisfied, and
You
as
feel
humans, we
absolutely.
want
It
to feel
feels good to help.
satisfaction.
It feels great to help others. And sometimes, that help, it's not like, it's costing them anything, right? It's not like they're depleting some kind of resource, if they help you. Sometimes it's just a conversation. Sometimes it's just a little bit of their time, you
100%.
know? So, don't ever be, if you need help, ask,
Yeah, that's
ask.
that
You'd
is
be,
the
you'd,
number
you'd
one
be
tip.
very, very surprised. Yeah, you'd be very surprised. Yeah,
Number one tip: if you need help, ask, guys.
absolutely. Absolutely.
What do you think is the best age to be in life?
Oh, because I've done a lot of different ages, so
That's
I
what I
know a
mean.
little
I
about
feel like so many you've done.
that. I've done
You
a
know
lot of
how
different
old you
ages.
feel like there's so many different chapters in life. Like, I'm about to enter a new chapter myself. I'm still in college, but when I graduate, that's going to be a new era. That's going to be a new chapter. And I feel like you go through
Absolutely.
little pockets of different chapters in your life and how to deal
Yeah, yeah.
with it.
Personally, I would say because I've done college and I've done post college and I've done post that a bit, right? I would say it's those like college into those post college years, right? And the
Mhm.
reason why I say that is, you have a level of freedom in college that you've never had before, right? And also you're also searching to kind of find your footing in terms of like, okay, well, what's going to be the next chapter, right? Some people may go the entrepreneurial route, right?
Yeah.
And if you go the entrepreneurial route, guess what? You don't have to wait to graduate to do it. You can start right then and there, right? I mean, I started my DJ business while I was in college, right? um, there's just so much, you know, there's so many options, for you in college that you can kind of grab by the horns and just go with it. But I think the biggest thing is that any age can be the best. I think it's the outlook. And
Hmm.
the one thing that I would say in terms of outlook, young people tend to say to themselves, "Oh, I'm young, so I'll do this in a couple years,
Yeah.
right?
100%.
I'll get serious about this or that later on, right? I'm young now. I don't have to worry about this now. I can worry about that later on." Part of it is true, but here's the thing about it. Take your youth as an advantage.
Hmm.
It's an advantage. You should be saying, "I'm young, so I'm going to do this now,
Yeah.
so I don't have to worry about it later on,"
Yeah.
right? I can have more fun later on.
You don't
I
want
can
to
travel
feel.
more later on,
Yeah.
right?
100%.
Why gallivant, now when you have the know-how, you have the energy, you have the tenacity, you have all these things now where you can go hard,
Yeah.
right? And get ahead so later on you can coast, right?
Yeah.
So use your youth as an advantage, not as a crutch. Use it as an advantage. Take, tomorrow out of your vocabulary. Take later out of your vocabulary. Keep one word in your vocabulary. Now.
Yeah. And
Now,
that's
now,
such good
now.
advice. That's such good advice because, especially in these days, you can create whatever you want. You can go online and make a new clothing line. Like,
Yeah.
it's not easy.
Now.
I'm not saying that any of this is easier because
None of it's easy, and nothing good comes easy for
no,
sure.
nothing good comes easy. And it is so hard putting yourself out there. Like, even, and I'm just going to talk freely and honestly, like, even doing a podcast, creating graphics, doing this, doing that, it is so hard to
Yep.
let go of the anxiety of what people are going to think of me. What if this isn't very good and people think, oh my god, like that's so bad. Like, to let go of those thoughts is very difficult.
It is. It is. But you know what though? You did the right thing. You took the leap because
Yeah,
guess what? If you don't start, you've already failed.
yeah,
You've already failed if you don't start,
100%.
right? And no, look at podcasts. Some of the most incredible podcasts, the Joe Rogans, all these people that have these, amazing podcasts. They started at episode one, right?
I'm sure.
They started episode one with maybe nobody or a few people, checking it out. But they did episode two and episode three and episode four and episode five, and they kept growing it.
Yeah,
So, victory starts at starting, right?
yeah,
You'll never see victory if you don't start. So, hopefully people that are out there sitting on the sidelines saying, I've been kind of thinking about doing this, or I've been kind of, wanting to, check this out, whatever. Stop thinking about it and
yeah,
do it.
yeah. Once you start, it's a lot easier than you think.
Yeah, that's right.
100%.
That's
Real
right.
quick,
Starting is the hardest part.
guys that are on our live, I'm just going to end this live now. And if you want to carry on watching, the link is in my previous story and in my bio. So just head over to that link now.
Come on over. We'll see you.
Okay. So what do you think from the fact that you know so many sports people in basketball, like in anything, especially because you were involved in the Miami Heat so much. What
Yep.
doors do you think sports open up for young people?
Wow. Sport. I mean, I think, first of all, in my opinion,
Yeah,
two things are life. Music is life and sports is life,
100%.
right? And
Especially in
they,
America, especially in
it's,
America.
yes, music is life and sports is life. And then there's other stuff,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
And the thing about it is this, sports is unifying, right? Sports is unifying. It's like, you know, I started to do my event called Irie Weekend, right?
Yes. Yes, tell us
And
about that, by the way.
yeah, well, I'll
We'll
tell you
get
all
to
about it.
we'll
But
get
but the thing
to
with
it.
Irie Weekend, the thing with Irie was when I was talking with my team and kind of figuring out, what we wanted to do. Um, we threw a lot of things around, and we're definitely gonna have some parties because I know a thing or two about that, right? But then it's like, okay, what else? And then it was like automatically, it was like sports, right? And the first thing that we said we were gonna do was golf, and that was for a number of reasons. To tell you the truth, the primary reason was no one would see that coming because everyone expected me to do like a charity basketball game or a celebrity basketball game. I had never even been on a golf course before I did the first one. You know what I mean? I knew nothing about golf. So and plus I looked up, there was literally zero DJs in the country or maybe in the world that was hosting a celebrity golf tournament. So I was
Yeah,
like, we're doing golf, right?
I love that.
and it was the best thing because I got to witness the power of this sport bringing people together,
Yeah.
right? From all walks of life, and I was blown away from the very. I mean, this year would be our 17th iteration of it, but from the very first year, I was so blown away from the relationships that were being birthed, on that golf course, and the ideas that were being shared on the golf course, all through a mutual love of the sport,
Yeah.
right? And it's crazy because a lot of people will think about, obviously there's some sports that are more conducive to building relationships than others, right? But the ones that are really suited for building relationships, some very 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 powerful relationships can be born out of a mutual love of sport, right?
100%.
um, we had I've had people play in the tournament that have gone on to get married, right?
Yeah.
um, I remember one year specifically, Shaq was there golfing with us, and Vitamin Water was a sponsor. At the time, Vitamin Water had announced their deal with 50 Cent, right?
Yeah.
And Shaq walked up to them and said, "Y'all gave 50 Cent a water? I'm Big Shaq, right? I can sell more water than 50 Cent. Like people want to know what Big Shaq is drinking, right? And they ended up giving him a deal, right? All these things happened, on the golf course, because people shared a common level of sport. So, so many great things can come out of sport. And then, of course, there's the whole camaraderie aspect of it,
Yeah.
especially with team sports. But I think the one thing that I think every sport shares, and it's a common fabric, is discipline, because no one is ever going to excel at any sport if they don't have discipline,
Yeah.
right? When it comes to training, and practice, and just learning more and getting better, it takes discipline. No one can just be nonchalant about it. Livy, as you know, I picked up tennis
Yeah.
um, last April, right?
And you were
And
so much better, by the way.
yeah, yeah, I'm definitely better than back then, right? But you know what? The reason I'm getting better is because of discipline, right?
Yeah.
I've never, to be honest with you, I take my work seriously
Yeah.
because it's my work and I'm very passionate about that. But I've never been this passionate and this disciplined about anything else outside of my work. And it's the best thing that's ever happened to me because I've never felt more balanced in my life, right? I'm on the court at 7 a.m., almost every morning, and it's not even a thought like maybe I won't make it or I'm tired or I don't care what happens the night before. I'm there, and
Yeah.
I'm there with bells on, with enthusiasm because I can't wait to get out there and hit because I know I might I'm gonna get even a little smidget better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you know
I
what? That's
know.
an important point that you say there. Even though you're not a tennis player and you only
Yeah.
started a year ago, and
Yep.
your industry is on the complete opposite side, the
Yeah.
fact that you have such enthusiasm in getting better in tennis, it relates to everything else in your life. And I think that's such an important thing. You
Yes.
can never
It
do one
does.
thing 50% and the other thing 100% because
Right.
eventually your mindset in the 50% will translate over into whatever else you're doing. If
Absolutely.
you're doing some one thing half-hearted, it will eventually go into the other aspect
Hmm.
of it.
Absolutely.
But
And
so
I mean, when I tell you it's changed, it has changed my life. Obviously, like physically, it's changed my
yes.
life. I'm actually a healthier person now, right? Um, and it's also changed my approach to life. When I say changed my approach, and that you know, during a given day, I know I'll have X number of things that I have to get
Yeah.
done, right? And like before tennis, it's like, okay, well, I have these things to get done. As long as I get them done at some point, it's going to be okay,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
And it wasn't super, super structured, but like I was getting my stuff done, right? But now it's completely different because it's like, okay, well, I know I'm gonna get I have to do my tennis in the morning,
Yeah.
right? And many days, like today, I'm gonna have to get it done in the afternoon as well. Sometimes, many times I go twice a day, right? So if I'm gonna play twice a day, I've got to get the things done.
Exactly.
So if I have this window to get the things done, guess what? I'll hit my tennis, I shower up, change, I'm getting everything done,
Yeah.
right? I'm going back, I'm hitting again. Okay, I got a couple things to follow up on. I follow up on those things, and I'm getting them done. It's so much more structured than I ever had before. And it's not like somebody came in and sat me down and said, hey, this is how you structure your day, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just me saying, hey, you know what? Because I really want to do these things,
Mhm.
I'm going to make sure to structure these other things because these other things allow me to do these things that I really love,
And I
right?
think that's something that sport also gives you. I know people that are not in sport and they really struggle to construct their day hour by hour.
Hmm.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
cannot go through my day without that construction. Like since, every athlete has probably had this, but since we were 8, 9 years old, it's been practice at 7 a.m., school at this time, workouts at this
That's
time, school at this time,
structure.
like absolute structure. And when anyone ever asks me, hey, do you think I should put my kid in tennis? I'm like, put them in every sport going possible.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
bombard them with
Put them in.
sport.
Yeah. And because they're gonna take to something.
Yeah.
Listen,
And
I wish so bad that my God bless them, but I really wish they had put me into tennis because I wasn't really into anything else.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I enjoy watching basketball. I don't enjoy playing it,
Yeah.
right? It's not really, I don't get up and go, oh my God, I want to go, play basketball. I've played baseball. It's okay,
Yeah.
right?
I
American
can't.
football.
Baseball
Yeah,
is too hard for me.
listen, I tried all the things and it's like, cool. I enjoy
Yeah.
watching it. Listen, I'll go to a game and it'll be a good time. I'm not compelled to play it, right?
Yeah.
Until tennis came along and it changed my life. I wish if I had this in my life earlier,
Yeah.
I, th- I- it would just have been a very positive thing in my life even earlier. And I,
Yeah.
and I wish I had just picked up the racket, like we talked about before, just trying
Yeah.
something. I was around
Amazing.
the sport. I was around the sport so much. I mean, I have other friends that are pro players that
Yeah.
Venus and Serena are my friends. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I've known them for years,
Yeah.
and one time Roger Federer invited me to hit balls with him when I was on a tour with him. I've had like these unbelievable Necker. You know what I mean? I didn't even
That's
touch a racket at Necker.
That's so crazy to me that when we were on NECA, you didn't even know how to play tennis. That is
I didn't
so
no, I didn't even I never even set
on
foot
NECA Island
on
with
the
Richard
court on Neck and
Bransky.
Bragg with people like you and other top players. I think was it that year that Rafa came? I don't know. It was one year that Rafa came, whatever. But like
Yeah.
all these, Jeannie Bouchard was there, right? And like all these amazing people, and it never even crossed my mind to say, "Hey, You mind if I hit with you? You know what I mean? Can I try it out?" It didn't even cross my mind. I was like, I'll tell you. And then when the day I do step on, I'm like, oh, I love this, and I
Yeah.
love it more than anything. And yeah, listen, I would if I had the opportunity. And right now, I play probably 5 to 7 days a week, but I would play every single day, and I'd play twice a day, and I'd play for 8 hours at a time if I could. I love it that much. I love it that much.
I mean, on to the fact that the sport can help you in so many ways, meet so many people. What do you think? Do you think networking is the number one thing? Like, what do you think truly helps people, and how do you feel networking has helped you?
Um, I think. Listen, here's the thing with sport. With sport, you you get out what you put in, right? And if you're approaching sport to get a certain outcome, you can achieve that.
Yeah.
So, there are people that, maybe homebodies or maybe in a small circle and they want to expand that circle. So they figure, hey, you know what? If I join a tennis club or if I join, a basketball club, whatever, I can meet more people. Then that's what you'll get out of it,
Yeah.
right? Some people may want, they want the exercise, right? They want to, move a certain portion of the day, and that's what. So I think understanding what you want to get out of it, you can get out of it knowing that's what you want, right?
100%.
Um, for me and my personal experience, I didn't realize, to be honest with you, I didn't even realize how great of a networking opportunity even tennis was, because
Yeah.
tennis is such an individual sport. Even though you have doubles and all that, it's still pretty much known as an individual sport, right? But no one can play tennis by themselves, right?
Of course.
And when you go out to and there's not many single courts around, so wherever you go to play tennis, there are going to be other tennis players there, and people always need a hitting partner,
Yeah.
right?
I think that the
And
other
so
thing that also sports can do, like, for example, if you're a basketball player, a netball player, tennis ball player, tennis player,
yeah,
and you want to start a podcast or anything like that, brands are also really looking for that right now. Like, if you're a brand looking for an athlete to partner with for an upcoming campaign, like
yeah,
even platforms like this, Millions, like they connect you with brands so well, and it's made it so
wow,
easy for athletes to gain exposure, to have new campaigns. So that's also another thing. Like, there's so much that can come from it as well.
that is really good to know. That's
Yeah.
really, really good to know. It makes a lot of sense. It's like
So
take the leap. Take
take
the
the
leap.
So
Yeah.
you do IRI Foundation tournament, golf
Yes.
tournament. is coming up.
It's
Tell
coming
us.
less than a month.
I'm
Oh yeah,
so
check it
sad.
out. Hey,
I'm so sad I can't be there. Like
I'm super sad you're not
I
gonna be
literally want to
there.
get
I
on the
mean,
flight and just hop over.
yeah. Well, hey, listen, I'll still keep my fingers crossed. We'll see.
Yes.
But yeah, so I started this thing. Well, this is the 17th year. We actually took 2 years off with all the COVID madness. But um, when I started it, it was really just about doing something on my own to raise funds and raise awareness for social causes that were important to me.
Yeah.
And I'd done a lot to help out guys like Alonzo Mourning and Dwayne Wade and Shaq and Dan Marino, and I saw the impact they were having, and I was like, wow, you know what? I want to be impactful as well because there's things that I believe in, and it's youth issues, especially under-resourced youth. And I thought that, okay, if I do this, we can actually, spearhead some resources to kind of help um, make things better, for them. And that's kind of how it started. But I wanted to be something that was true to my brand,
Hmm.
but everybody can still enjoy. And we came up with this concept of having like a nice, dinner gala on Friday where people can dress up and have some great food and learn about what we're doing and
Miami
enjoy good
people love,
music.
by the
My
way.
people love that. Yeah, yeah. So that's what we do on Thursday, kind of
What do you
kicking it
do
off.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah. By the way, any day of the week is a good day
Any day
of
of
the
the
week
week.
in Miami to
We'll
have
have to
fun.
help you.
They were like, get dressed, food, drinks,
I'm in.
fun. Yeah, we're in. Where do we sign up? You know what I mean? So that kind of kicks off the Thursday, and then Friday, um, we do the golf tournament that I was talking about a
Yeah.
little bit earlier. We do this really great celebrity golf tournament, take over the Miami Beach Golf Club. We set up a nice big VIP tent, with food and drinks and
Wow.
music and activations. And that's a great time. And then we let our hair down Friday night, take over this little place called Live. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
Yeah.
This year we're actually gonna have Marshmello performing, rocking it
That'd
out.
be amazing.
We're gonna mellow it out. You know what I mean?
You know what? I
Um,
feel like you're convincing me. I'm gonna find a way to be there.
do
You're
hey, let's do
convincing.
what you gotta do. All
I do know
right,
what to do to be
do what you gotta do.
there.
But we're not done yet. That's Friday. Saturday, over the past number of years, we've kind of had like this thing called the Beach Bash, which is a big pool party with performances and barbecue and all the good stuff, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But I caught the bug, the tennis bug. I caught it and I can't shake it. So I unilaterally said, like, hey, team, we're doing something different this year.
Yeah.
We're doing the Irie weekend, sorry, the inaugural Irie Weekend Tennis Pro Am. Let's
Yes.
go. Come on,
Yes.
let's go.
I love that. I'm all
We're
here
doing a
for it.
Pro Am tennis tournament this year. I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh.
To say the truth, listen, every Irie weekend is exciting, but this is
Yeah.
exciting on another level for me because I'm
So
so
new.
passionate about tennis to have a
Yeah.
tennis event. And then you know, I was like, okay, well, we're gonna do this, but are people going to make the connection? Like, Irie and tennis, because I don't really post about it a lot because I want to get really good before I start posting about it, right?
Yeah. You're gonna get a game off me soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, I gotta get the skills up before I post about it. But we started sharing it with people, and the response has been unbelievable. To tell you the truth, we're almost sold out.
Yeah.
I think it's like 4 spots left. Um, so the response has been incredible, and we have an incredible operational and organizational team working on this thing, and it's going to be done at a really high level, and I'm super excited about it. This is my first foray into doing a tennis event, and it's definitely not going to be the last, right?
You know what? And
So
I already know, like, with the people that love tennis, and not only in Miami, but everywhere at the moment, and the growing in pickleball and all these type of things, like, the fact that you're doing this now is such good timing. It's such good
yeah,
timing.
I think so too.
This will be good. I'm
I
100%.
think so too. And not only that, we've come to kind of develop our own brand of sports entertainment, right?
Yes.
With Ivy Weekend. Like if you were to come to our golf tournament, and you'd go to any other golf tournament, you'd be like, yo, this is different.
Yeah.
There's a lot going there's golfing, but there's a lot going on too. It's almost like, a party on a golf course, So we're kind of going to bring some of that, energy,
Okay.
right, and our brand of entertainment to tennis as well, and kind of see how that translates. But yeah, we're going to try to shake it up a little bit and just have some fun. But I'm really happy to be doing our inaugural
I'm so
tennis event.
excited. I'm
Yeah,
honestly so excited for you.
yeah, and then we're just gonna just wrap it all up
Yeah.
at this little spot called Levin Saturday night.
It's a little spot.
Little spot. You might have heard of that spot too. We're gonna wrap it up there Saturday night. We're gonna have Ti perform, and we're gonna be breaking it down to the break of dawn.
Oh, for sure. I do not doubt it. Trust me. So, the nature of this episode is called What is Your Why, which we are tying up with today. What
Mm.
is your why, Irie?
Great. Wow, super great question, and I hope I answer it correctly. But if I sum it up in one word, I would say is better,
Yeah.
and to be better, right? I think a life well lived is a life that went through the cycle of the day trying to be a little bit better than the previous,
Yeah.
right? That is my why. A lot of things I do a lot of things. I'm here, I'm there, I'm everywhere, right? But I do those things to be a little bit better,
Yeah.
right? Even though I can't even count the number of parties I've ever done in my I really cannot count, but I still approach an event wanting to perform a little bit better
Yeah.
than the previous, right? Every time I step on the tennis court, my conviction is to be a little bit better than the previous match,
Yeah.
right? Um, that is my why. That is my why is better, to be a little bit better.
That's a great word. And you know what my word was gonna be? And
Tell me.
I was gonna say freedom. I
Yeah,
want to be free to have my day to day how I want it, but not in the
yeah.
sense of greed or not willing to work hard. I want to build an empire and my brand so much that it's allowed me to have freedom. It's allowed me to give back to,
Amen.
and it's
A-
allowed me to build such a brand for myself that
sure.
you have.
Amen. Amen. And you know what? I think a lot of people, I think that'll resonate with a lot of people because,
Yeah,
you know, so many people are kind of caught up in doing things that they have to do, not necessarily want to do, right?
yeah,
Because at the end of the day, we all have to survive, right? We all have to kind of take care of our responsibilities, whether it be, kids, families, other loved ones,
yeah.
whatever it is we have to do. But a lot of people are doing things that they have to do, right?
Not because
It is a very unique freedom when you can approach it every day doing things that you want to do,
100%.
right? And that is, I mean, wow. I mean, tell me who isn't, you know, if that's not aspirational for everybody.
Yeah,
We should all be aspiring to wake up in the morning and do the things that we want to do, not that we necessarily have to do, right?
100%.
So I feel that. I feel that for real. I
Thank
really feel that. That resonates for
you.
sure.
Well, thank you, Iris, so much for sharing all of
Welcome.
advice
Yeah.
and information. That was seriously, I'm sure people loved it and I loved it. And I want to say thank you so much. And for everyone that's
You're
watching,
welcome.
go follow Irie on Instagram at Irie at the bottom.
Your boy.
Foundation, go support it in any way possible. He is an amazing human being and an amazing person. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Livy. You know you're my fan for life. I got you, girl.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Take care, you guys.
Bye.